Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Dennis Adegunloye. We'll begin with bilateral relations as Nigeria is hoping to expand its $1 billion trade volume with Japan as it also leads the African agenda to the 2025 Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD. President Bola Tinubu, in his first appearance, is leading Nigeria's delegation to the 9th edition of the conference, opening this Wednesday in Yokohama. We'll bring you this report in the course of the bulletin. In the meantime, Nigeria and Brazil have taken a major decision to reinforce their bilateral cooperation with agreements signed in 5 major areas of collaboration. President Bola Tinubu and his Brazilian counterpart, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, both expressed readiness to grow the relationship for the prosperity of both countries. State House correspondent Musbao Danmahab reports.
The Brazilian government deployed full military honors for the arrival of the Nigerian leader at the Palácio do Planalto, the Brazilian presidential office. Every step of President Bola Tinubu was aiming higher at a more strategic relations between two countries of similar features, hoping for a greater future together. Yet another meeting of two friends in the series. 4th meeting between the two leaders since President Tinubu assumed office. An intercontinental handshake with sense of urgency about to fine-tune decisive bilateral agreements as the largest countries in Africa and South America put action to their commitment to rejuvenate the trade relations which hitherto was on a downward trend between them. A private meeting and then a bilateral one between the two teams culminated in signing of agreements on 5 areas. These include aviation, capacity building of diplomats, political consultation on bilaterals of common interest, cooperation on science, technology and innovation, as well as cooperation between banks of agriculture of both countries to promote trade and investment.
We've elevated this promise to the path of reality, as you've seen in the various MOU already signed. Today, we're fighting and working hard to bring our sovereignty to the level of expectation that we as a nation, an African nation, the most populous country, the most dynamic country, Nigeria, to share with Brazil what we need to share among each other. Technology transfer, economic renaissance that will be beneficial to the two countries. Let Brazil continue to widen the opportunity for us to embrace Africa. Africa is the new frontier.
Focusing on technology and knowledge transfer in manufacturing, both leaders believe their countries will henceforth harness their resources to grow their economies and peoples.
If we can mitigate all problems and eliminate, the peg and make the business transparent and support our aviation industry, it will blossom. And aviation will propel additional opportunity for business to grow, culture to succeed, and everyone to benefit.
Brazil has an obligation to help the African continent achieve the same development we have achieved here. We've thought about this for a long time. It didn't work out, but now, President, You can be sure that your visit to Brazil today definitely signifies Brazil's return to the African continent, not as a country seeking a hegemonic relationship with anyone, but as a country seeking a relationship of solidarity, fraternal, and equality, focused on the growth of the African people and the growth of the African Brazilian people.
With the commitment serially demonstrated by both leaders and agreement signed in key areas, they expressed belief that the partnership will go to an enviable level amongst the Committee of Nations. In Brasilia, Muspal, Nanwahab, NC News.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Defense, Mohamed Badaru Abubakar, has held a high-level bilateral meeting with his Brazilian counterpart, José Múcio Monteiro Filho, in Brazil, to strengthen defense relations and advance defense industrial cooperation, maritime security in the Gulf of Guinea, among other defense-related issues. During the meeting on the sidelines of President Bola Tinubu's state visit to Brazil, the minister underscored Nigeria's commitment to the full implementation of the Nigeria-Brazil Defense Agreement signed on 24th June 2025, describing the agreement as a strategic instrument for expanding collaboration, deepening technology transfer, and building industrial partnerships. He stressed that sustained cooperation in maritime security, counter-terrorism, and defense industrial innovation aligns with President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, which places national security and self-reliance at the core of Nigeria's development strategy. Both ministers agreed to establish a structured defense dialogue framework to ensure continuity, accountability, and tangible outcomes. And in another development, the federal government has signed a bilateral air service agreement with Brazil, paving the way for direct flights between Nigeria and Brazil. The agreement, signed by the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, and Brazil's Minister of Transport, Silvio Costa Filho, in the presence of the two leaders, establishes a new framework for direct air connectivity between the two nations. Special advisor on media to the minister, Tunde Moshood, in a statement says the agreement is a strategic milestone that underscores the President Bola Tinubu administration's commitment to expanding Nigeria's global partnerships and creating enabling environments for commerce and mobility. The BASA agreement is expected to foster stronger economic integration, facilitate cultural ties, and enhance diplomatic cooperation between both nations. The two leaders lauded the partnership, emphasizing readiness to deepen ties in multiple spheres, including aviation, agriculture, and infrastructure development. The agreement, which was signed during President Tinubu's state visits to Brazil, underscores the importance of formalizing the BASA agreement as a significant step in strengthening bilateral ties between the two largest economies in their respective continents. Now back here, an Abuja-Kaduna-bound train has derailed, leaving passengers in panic. The incident occurred around 11 a.m. between Kubwa and Asham stations. Managing Director of the Nigerian Railway Corporation, Kayode Okpefa, has confirmed the incident, saying medical personnel and nearby hospitals have been mobilized to respond effectively, and security personnel are on the scene to ensure passenger safety. Efforts are underway to relocate passengers from the scene. So far, there are no confirmed reports of any casualties. Sokoto State has once again witnessed accidents on its waterways as two separate boat mishaps in the space of 1 week claimed lives and left families in grief. The accidents have renewed concerns over safety on river transports, even as governments and emergency agencies step up responses. Abdullahi Umari Laldu reports.
State is once again in mourning, following two separate boat mishaps recorded within the span of 1 week. The accidents, which claimed lives and loss of farm produce, add to a long history of recurring boat disasters on the state's waterways. The search and rescue operation has ended. Survivors recall how the boats were overloaded, with many passengers struggling without life jackets. For the bereaved families, it is not about numbers. It is about fathers, mothers, and children whose absence will leave lasting pain in their homes and communities.
Two of my brothers were involved in the incident. One was rescued alive and the other one is yet to be seen.
Mun zo da jirgi sai taguwar iska ta ruwa sai ta bugo cikin jirgin sai ya noce.
Officials of the National Emergency Management Agency, the National Inland Waterways Authority, the Sokoto State Emergency Management Agency, and other relevant bodies were at the site coordinating rescue efforts and extending support to survivors and relatives of the victims.
A boat or a canoe that is carrying about 30 being overloaded with 50 persons, then 7 motorcycles. I can say this is ignorance, this is negligence.
Without passenger manifest and without life jacket. If they are on board with the life jacket, I'm sure the people to be rescued would have been much more.
The Sokoto state government also visited the affected areas, commiserated with the victims' families, and provided relief materials. But for residents who rely daily on river transport, the sorrow of these losses is a stark reminder of the urgent need for stronger safety measures and effective enforcement to prevent further mishaps. From Sokoto, Abdullah Omar Ilalu, NTA News.
All right, let's take some commercials now. The news returns shortly. Stay with us. Welcome back. We're now being joined live from Sokoto with Nuruddin Abdullahi to talk more to us about the boat mishaps in Sokoto State. Nuruddin, hello. Can you update us on efforts by the authorities concerned?
Yeah, I can.
In making prompt.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Abuja. Can you hear me?
I'm hearing you loud and clear, Nuruddin. Just tell us what authorities are doing.
Within the space of a week, Sokoto State experienced two boat mishap that claimed some lives, properties, and farmland. The mishap took place in Gorenyo local government and Sabon Birni local government areas, all in Sokoto State. With me here is a special advisor to Sokoto State Governor on State Management Agency, Emergency Agency, Alhaji Aminu Liman Bodenga. Sir, can you shed more light to our viewers on the recent development?
Okay, Sokoto State, we have experienced two boat mishaps at Gorenyo and the Sabon local government areas. At Gorenyo, the canoe, when it was capsized, it has 50 people are on board, and I have invited Nema, Niwa, and Road Cross. We went there together with the local government officials, especially the chairman of the local government. He invited all stockholders, and we started searching and rescuing. We were able to rescue 41 persons alive, and we have discovered 6 bodies which were dead and during the MPNO. And we are still searching for two bodies of the victims.
But sir, what do you think is responsible for this?
In case of Gorenyo, it is overloading, because the canoe is supposed to carry only 20 people, but it was discovered that about more than 50 people on the boat during the mishap. Therefore, we use this opportunity to warn the operators of the canoe that they shouldn't overload the canoe, and they shouldn't allow underage boys to operate the canoe, especially during this period where Bakalori and Gorenyo dams were open and the water is too much and it's strong now.
What about what of the development in Sabon? Okay.
In Sabon local government, I think the canoe only 28 people are on board during the canoe, and even in Sabon we discovered that 6 people were dead. and died. And we were able to rescue 19 people alive, and we are still searching for 6 people who are still not found.
Thank you very much for thank you very much for updating our viewers on the recent development, Honorable Sir.
Definitely, I want to add more about the cooperation given by the state government, because we are able to avoid this phenomenon. The state government has purchased 20 canoes, 20 motorized boats, and we have distributed to the 6 local government areas in which Sabambirin and Goren were inclusive. And the rest were Shagari, Gourno, Muamako.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable, for updating our viewers on the latest development. We now hand over to Abuja studio. Thank you for being with us.
All right, Nuruddin, many thanks for that. Let's turn our attention to security. In the wake of rapid globalization and technological advancements, security threats are evolving, shifting from traditional warfare to new challenges in digital attacks and cyber security. National Counter-Terrorism Center, Office of the National Security Advisor, is addressing these evolving risks posed by terrorists' exploitation of new and emerging technologies through the CT Tech Plus initiative. More on this from Defense correspondent Ismail Musa.
Cyber attacks have become increasingly sophisticated, targeting individuals, businesses, government institutions and installations, compromising sensitive information and disrupting operations. From phishing to ransomware to identify theft and online fraud, the types of cyber threats are diverse and constantly evolving. Globally, there is a shift from conventional warfare to cyber threats, as terrorists increasingly exploit digital platforms, unmanned systems, and artificial intelligence to carry out their nefarious acts. To address these challenges, the National Counter-Terrorism Center in the Office of the National Security Advisor is headlining these stakeholders at the CT Tech Initiative to assess threats stemming from the use of new technologies.
The CT Tech Plus initiative is a 2-year joint program of the United Nations Office of Counterterrorism, the United Nations Counterterrorism Center, and the Interpol. It supports partner states in addressing the evolving risks posed by terrorists while ensuring that responses remain firmly anchored in the rule of law, human rights, and gender sensitivity.
It's important to note that the outcome of this workshop will enhance and strengthen Nigeria's national counterterrorism policy and operational responses to counter the use of new technologies for terrorist purposes in full compliance with international human rights norms and standards.
The workshop, second in the series, provides a platform for stakeholders to jointly assess technological risk and translate findings into actionable national counter-terrorism policies and operational strategies. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Nigerian army is gearing up for a digital revolution, sharpening its edge in the cyber battlefield to tackle emerging security threats. With its 3rd annual Chief of Army Staff Data Management Seminar in Abuja, the Army says it is prioritizing effective data management and record keeping as key ammunition in its national security arsenal. Defense correspondent Najatu Tijani reports.
A study shows that digital record keeping can result in cost savings in printing supplies and in labor. For the Nigerian Army, digital record keeping and data management are crucial in today's digital era. This gathering at the 3rd annual Chief of Army Staff Data Management Seminar is being organized by the Department of Military Secretary.
Though these departments have statutory responsibilities to collect and maintain certain Nigerian Army data and records, data management and record keeping in general is a collective duty which requires the efforts of all corps, formations, and establishments.
Keynote speakers say by leveraging technology, the Army can improve data accuracy, accessibility, and security, ultimately supporting better decision-making.
It will undoubtedly enrich the participants, who also provided the motivation for achieving tasks in the accomplishment of our overarching mission.
The seminar also provides a platform for stakeholders to share best practices, discuss challenges, and explore solutions to enhance data management and record keeping within the Nigerian Army. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
Elsewhere, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, has assured that the Nigerian Army will continue to do more to secure not only states plagued by banditry and insurgency, but the entirety of Nigeria's territory. This assurance was made during an operational visit to Katsina State at the Government House. Awal Haliru reports.
The Katsina State government acknowledged the support of the Nigerian armed forces in the ongoing onslaught against banditry and kidnapping, which has led to the recent success in rescuing kidnapped victims and eliminating bandits' enclaves in the state. The visit of the Chief of Army Staff was to convey collective condolences to the state for the loss of lives recently, which he described as sad and unfortunate. He also sought to synergize efforts to address the challenge of ending banditry and insurgency while seeking for more support from the state government and people of Katsina State in areas of intelligence gathering.
Because the fact is that we're just fighting our own people. That is the truth. The enemy is within, and it's important for us to fish out these enemies of state and see how we can deal with them decisively. Going forward, I just want to register the fact that we'll do our best, we'll do more to secure Katsina State, not only Katsina State, the entirety of the Nigerian space.
People have cried out, and now that we have this powerful delegation sent by the federal government to come and reassess our situation and provide additional support to our people. So we thank you, the Nigerian Army, we thank you, Mr. President, for this intervention.
The Nigerian Army assured it will do the best to secure the state and the entire country. In Katsina, Awal Haliru, NTA News.
In other news, patients with health challenges needing oxygen to stay alive and caregivers will worry no more following the inauguration of pressure swing absorption plants in the 3 senatorial districts of Bayelsa State. The life-saving medical oxygen plants is a partnership between the federal and Bayelsa State governments with global funding. Ibinimi Zitimiola has details.
Swing absorption PSA plants are vital for the health sector as they produce on-site medical-grade oxygen for patients suffering respiratory illnesses, trauma, heart disease, and for those needing emergency care. Despite the all-important life-saving function of medical oxygen, it is largely unavailable in public healthcare facilities in Bayelsa State, leading to the loss of lives, especially of indigent patients and rural dwellers.
Went as far as to Port Harcourt, even sometimes to Abia State, to get oxygen.
With the inauguration of the pressure swing absorption PSA plants in the general hospitals of Sagbama and Brass, as well as the Federal Medical Center Yenagwa, covering the 3 senatorial districts, stable, cost-effective and safe alternative to liquid oxygen can now be generated on site and on demand to save lives.
This project is on now. I know that by God's grace, we will not have deaths because of hypoxia.
The plant carries a warranty period of 5 years maintenance. And apart from the PSA plants, also donated is the generator.
We thank the Honorable Commissioner for Health for being a pioneer in pressuring the Federal Ministry of Health and, of course, our partners in providing these for our people.
We affirm the dedication of the Ministry of Health under the Assured Prosperity Agenda to continue to do well within our powers to build a resilient and robust healthcare system.
I thank the Global Fund for this initiative.
The partnership between Global Funds, the federal and Bayelsa State government is also providing technical training for personnel that will man the facilities. Ebinini Zitimiola, NTA News.
The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, has transferred regulatory oversight of the electricity market in Bayelsa State to the State Electricity Regulatory Agency in line with the 1999 Constitution as amended and the Electricity Act 2023. NERC directs Port Harcourt's Electricity Distribution Company, PLC, to incorporate a subsidiary that will assume responsibilities for intrastate supply and distribution of electricity in Bayelsa State. Now, in the just concluded by-election in Anambra State, the open display of vote buying by political actors has become a source of concern. Ahead of the governorship election in the state, Daniel Ukpai interacted with stakeholders involved in the electoral process and measures to curb vote buying.
Vote buying has become one of the biggest threats to Nigeria's democracy. On election days, the power of choice is often exchanged for a few thousand naira, food items or material gifts. What may seem a small transaction at the polling unit has far-reaching impact on governance and development.
But the point is that those old women, those people, indigent people, people who doesn't have money, some of them believes that day they will make like 5,000, 10,000 for them to use to cook.
So it's been a challenge, but I know that fundamentally there are many dimensions to it. I think it's a deficit of governance.
It's supposed to be by choice. You know, when you see a candidate that has potential to give what it takes, then, and you like the person because you want Nigeria to move forward, then you go for it.
It weakens institutions, erodes trust in the electoral system, and promotes mediocrity in leadership. Vote buying is democracy for sale, and the citizens end up paying the price.
How we can solve the problem is not through coercion, it's not through arrest. It's a matter of setting aright the minds of the people.
When we eat that money that he gave you that day, maybe 5,000, 10,000, it won't even last you for 1 week and the money has finished.
Innovation and technology is one of the most interesting things that is changing the global economy. So I believe that the government should look into it. To counter things like this, we just need technology.
For Nigeria's democracy to thrive, elections must be driven by conscience, not by currency. In Oka, Daniel Ukpai, NTA News.
Well, let's stay in Oka, where Daniel Ukpai is standing by to give us further updates on efforts to curb this menace in the electoral process. Hello, Daniel. What else can you tell us about efforts of government to curb vote buying in the state?
Once again, and welcome to Oka, the Anambra State capital. We're in the last election that just threw up and eating some practices which political analysts have said, if they are not nipped in the bud, could stand against democratic culture in Nigeria. And one of them specifically was the issue of vote buying, which came up during the by-election. But they, however, profiled some solutions, and which include the solutions they prefer includes economic empowerment of the voters. They opine that if these voters are empowered economically, that they will not have the mind to sell their votes for a peanut. They also advocate strong enforcement of existing electoral laws, saying that if these laws are strengthened and given the necessary backup, it will deter the people from engaging in this vote buying. They also advocate for reorientation of the citizens, which they say if the citizens are given the required reorientation, it could change their mindset and make them not to sell their votes.
All right. Thanks very much for that.
Right.
We hope that these measures will certainly have the desired results, and if not entirely eradicated, the vote buying will be at least minimized there in Oka ahead of the election. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, let's now join Chika in our Enugu Network Center for the next set of reports. Hello, Chika, it's over to you. Chika, it's over to you.
To achieve an egalitarian society, unity and development is enthroned. Legal professionals and leaders have been charged to stand against corruption, inequality, impunity, and injustice. This came to the fore at the ongoing 2025 Annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association in Enugu. Chika Ugu is our guide.
Declaring the conference open, Governor Peter Mba said his vision of growing Enugu State economy and making it conducive for living and investment cannot be achieved without a justice system that is fair, functional, and trusted. He said his administration has made reforms in the justice sector in order to enhance efficiency, independence, and dignity of the state courts, as well as promote alternative dispute resolution through the multi-door courts house.
One of the reforms that I'm proudest of, we introduced real-time transcription for our courts, attaining verbatim reporting for the court, has eliminated the strain of longhand recording on judges.
The founder, Economic Freedom Fighters South Africa, advocated for laws that will enthrone economic freedom, education, and liberation from Western slavery and dependence.
It is a profession characterized by sacrifice, intellect, and a commitment to interpretation of the past in order to achieve justice, fairness, and victory in the present and future.
Law is crucial to society because it maintains social order by setting standards.
The theme "Stand Out and Stand Tall" is a major call to the legal practitioners to distinguish themselves professionally and uphold truth, ethics, professionalism, and justice.
By enduring short-term challenges, Nigeria can achieve lasting improvements. A thriving agricultural sector, a transparent economy.
For the legal practitioner, it motivates you, it challenges you to greater effort to be a better lawyer, to make meaningful contribution to the society.
The annual conference of the NBA has over 20,000 legal practitioners from across the country in attendance. In Enugu, Chika Ugu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the ongoing 2025 Annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association has provided a platform for groups and organizations to table their grievances and advocate for justice. Chimaroke Ugu reports that members of the Enugu Suburban 1 constituency of the Enugu State were at the venue to protest the continued incarceration of Bright Ngene, winner of the constituency seat at the Enugu State House of Assembly at the just concluded by-election.
Placards and solidarity chants, some constituents of Enugu South Urban constituency marched to the International Conference Center, venue of the ongoing Nigerian Bar Association Annual General Conference in Enugu. They described the continued imprisonment of their son for alleged Community Development Fund scandal as injustice and intimidation. The peaceful protest, according to the constituent, is the last resort to call the attention of the NBA to the plight of their colleague, Bright Ngene, who is a lawyer. They allege that he was wrongly convicted and sent to prison by Enugu State Magistrate Court.
Judicial process were not followed, and in less than 2 weeks, judgment was dispensed. Yes. And the man has been in detention since then till now. Efforts to get this into the High Court, down to the Appeal Court, have proved abortive because somehow judges are accusing themselves from the case day and night. The Chief Justice have refused to assign the case to a new judge.
They pleaded that NBA should step into the matter to ensure that judicial due process is followed.
I have written to every organ of NBA as we speak, but there have not been any kind of response. So we have done all we can do. We decided to resort to this issue to come and beg. We're not here to fight. We're here to quarrel. We're here to beg. Please, let this man be free so he can go and represent the people that voted him in the assembly.
Bright Ngene was sentenced to 7 years imprisonment in July 2024 and still won the constituency election from prison. In Enugu, Chimaroke Ugu, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Now over to Abuja, where Dennis is still standing by.
Many thanks, Chika. Now, digital capacity building towards promoting service delivery within the aviation space is non-negotiable. This was part of the focus of the 2025 Mid-Year Workers and Stakeholders Sensitization Program of the Joint Consultative and Negotiation Council of the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Dr. Abubakar Kana, emphasized the importance of working together to achieve the mandate of the ministry and manpower developments, digital literacy, and the importance of a performance management system, which he says drives the desired developments as well as efficiency towards achieving the aviation roadmap.
And the mandate does not only reside in the ministry, but also involves all our parastatals. And that's the reason why we have very important parastatals from NCAA, FAN, and the rest. There is no way a ministry can superintend over her parastatals if the staff are not properly trained and knowledgeable about those. To the issue of welfare of staff. By nature, as a unionist, I'm pro. In fact, I'm a welfareist.
We are the heart of this industry, and therefore, our dedication, resilience, and professionalism are keys to keeping the sector on the move by closing the gap between the ministerial mandate and the minister's 5-point agenda.
Dr. Kana reaffirmed the ministry's commitments towards the promotion of the welfare of staff, which he says will enhance performance to achieve desired objectives. Let's now cross over to our Lagos Network Centre, where Adiola will give us our next reports. Hello, Adiola.
Thanks for joining us in Lagos. The federal government's pragmatic move to arrest the dwindling fortunes of its tertiary institutions with a 7-year moratorium on establishment of new ones is what the academic community believes will address the churning out of poorly trained but certified graduates. Larry Belay has more on this.
Statistics by the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAMB, shows that the highest number of applicants for one federal university is 58,645, and the lowest is 42,000, while in the state-owned universities category, the highest has 79,000. Sadly, in some federal polytechnics and colleges of education, there is no application at all.
We're talking about public funds here. We're talking about global standards. We're talking about global quality. We're talking about global benchmark. And we're talking about the point of takeoff. So it's important that this decision is taken so that we do not set up institutions just for the purpose of political patronage. It is important that we look at posterity. It's important that we look at institutions that are set up to develop individuals and develop manpower.
Channeling resources into upgrading the facilities in the next 7 years is what the federal government is doing to address the churning out of ill-equipped graduates.
This year, 2025 JAMB, we realized that there's some university that doesn't even have up to 10 candidates applying to them. So, of what use is, establishing more universities?
For the federal government, the 7-year moratorium is a pragmatic step to rein in overstretched funds for these higher institutions that can improve their capacity and in the long run encourage potential investors. In Lagos, Larry Bilayi, NTA News.
The management of the NTA Lagos Network Center has paid a courtesy visit to the Nigerian Army 81 Division with a view to strengthening ties. Zonal Director of the NTA Lagos Network Center, Evelyn Wansu, says the relationship would help foster regional peace and security. Adejoke Odeka completes the report.
With relationship building at the forefront, the Nigerian Television Authority Lagos Network Center Zonal Director Evelyn Nwosu kicked off her engagement with a courtesy visit to the division of the Nigerian Army, recognizing the invaluable role the Nigerian army plays in maintaining peace and security in the region.
We want to have a relationship where anything you do, we will be able to say. And then we want to have a security program that we have to talk about security, because if we don't talk about security, I don't know who should. We are still the government arm of broadcasting. So we want a relationship that is interactive, a relationship that is rewarding, and a relationship that will help both sides.
The GOC of 81 Division, Major General Farouk Mijinyawa, who received the NTA Lagos Network Center management team, promised to ensure synergy and spoke highly of its commendable news coverage.
We'll continue to collaborate with NTA for us to promote national security, especially as it affects our area of responsibility.
At the end of the visit, a souvenir was presented to the Zonal Director NTA LNC by the GOC 81 Division. He also reaffirmed his commitment to more collaborative effort with the Nigerian Television Authority. In Lagos, Adejoke Odeka, NTA News.
And those are the stories from Lagos. Dennis is back to you for the continuation of Nationwide.
Thanks a lot, Adiola. A bit more on health now. Persons with psychological disabilities in Africa face significant challenges, including human rights violations, stigma, sexual violence, and discrimination. To address these issues, the Africa Mental Health Leadership Program, in collaboration with CBM Global Disability Inclusion, is working to amplify the voices of persons who have had such experiences and to strengthen civil society engagements in shaping inclusive mental health responses across West Africa. Gufan Shaji Ugwai reports.
You are the voices of the communities.
Gathered here in this room are 55 mental health professionals and civil society organizations drawn from across the African region.
Ce matin avec vous.
They are strengthening their voices on interventions and policies for persons with psychosocial disabilities.
People with psychosocial disabilities are not only beneficiaries, but active contributors and decision makers in public health.
Changing policy and how services are also delivered across the region. And we are really happy, for example, because in relation to the African Mental Health Leadership Program, we are actually contributing to an ongoing process in Nigeria on the decriminalization of attempted suicide.
Cecilia Fofo Ashale is a participant from Ghana. As a mental health advocate, she says psychosocial inclusion begins first from the family.
So it comes with communicating with them because they have rights, they have needs, accessing probably maternal health care and reproductive health needs that persons with mental health condition also do have the right to exercise.
Participants here are optimistic that this workshop will strengthen civil society engagements in shaping an inclusive mental health responses across West Africa. In Abuja, Gofan Shaji Ugwanyi, NTA News.
All right, our next port of call is our JOS Network Center, and Bilkisu will be our guide. Hello, Bilkisu. Over to you.
To JOS. Plateau State Police Command has paraded 3 suspects for armed robbery along Bassa and Jingri communities of the state. Ijoma Ozwamina has more.
The Commissioner of Police notes that the command received a distress call from members of the Kishika community, Benchin village of Bassa local government area of the state, who were attacked by gunmen on their way from Bukuru Cattle Market after sales. During the attack, the hoodlums collected a sum of 1,918,000 naira and other valuables from them. Following the report, detectives swung into action and arrested the suspects who confessed to the robberies along Bassa and Jingri communities.
We have succeeded in putting an end to the activities of some criminal-minded individuals in our midst, whose perception of a decent life is to cause chaos, thereby deprive other innocent citizens of their means of livelihood. It is worthy of note
that these operational successes are not only a testament of the diligence and commitment of our officers, but also the collaborative spirit of Plateau citizens.
Similarly, in Langton South, upon credible intelligence, detective raided the house of a suspected kidnapper and discovered a locally fabricated rifle with an empty magazine. The CP further notes that these achievements and successes could not have been possible without support from the public and other security agencies, urging them to sustain it for a better society. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemena, NTA News.
National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, KURU, says it is committed to the realization of its mandate of research and policy making to achieve national goals. This was at a transformational leadership course on professionalism, performance and productivity. Mary Replon Domtur has the report.
The National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPS, a premier policy think tank, was established by Decree 20 in 1979 to serve as a center for research and policy making. It serves as a center where representatives from all walks of Nigerian national life come together by way of workshops, services and other action-oriented courses, studies and conferences to analyze and exchange views as to long-term national goals. These participants were trained in transformational leadership course on discussing professionalism, performance and productivity.
I'm going with so much that I know will make me a better person to impact more positively to the growth of the NTA.
We go a long way in transforming our leadership style.
I would want to recommend that more people in managerial positions are allowed to come in here.
We learned how to be able to take decisions.
The Director General, National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, Professor Ayo Omotayo, represented by the Director of Research, Professor Leonard Foa, admonished the participants to practice what they learned during the training in their various organizations.
Trainings are meant to stimulate you, trainings are meant to drive you, trainings are made to enhance your capacity.
Participants were drawn from the Nigerian Television Authority, tertiary institutions and other agencies of government. In Jos, Mary Replong Domtur, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Jos. Maiduguri is standing by for the continuation of Nationwide after this break.
We're glad to have you back on Nationwide. Let's now continue from Maiduguri. Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum has sent a delegation to Marwa in Cameroon's far north region for the sent-forth ceremony of Major General Mohamed Salih, recently appointed Chief of Army Staff of Cameroon. Pauline Kujevana completes the story.
The delegation, led by the State Commissioner for Education, Science, Technology and Innovation, who doubled as chairman of Borno State Subcommittee on Repatriation, Lawan Abawa Kilbe, joined dignitaries at the Morua Grandstand, where General Sali officially handed over command to General Agaha Robinson Dong, the new commander of the 4th Military Region. The event was presided over by Cameroon's Minister of Defense, Betty Asomo, with the governor of the Far North Region, Mijinjawa Bakari, among other top officials in attendance.
Tous nos compatriotes, militaires et civils.
The children who had been abducted and held captive by Boko Haram were finally released and taken to the emergency station located 20 kilometers away between Nigeria.
De nous tomber à l'instant même. Nos otages.
For the past week, our forces have remained fully mobilized. The police and the international forces carried out a wide-ranging sweep of the entire area.
Members of the Borno delegation included the chairman of Goza Local Government Council, Abakawu Shehu Temta, and that of Bama Moduguja, senior technical assistant Alkali Babakolo, and secretary of the Bama Reconstruction Committee, Charimi Babakura, among others. In Maiduguri, Pauline Kujevana, NTA News.
We're done for now from Maiduguri. Let us at this point return to Dennis in Abuja.
The Nigeria police force has recorded major breakthroughs in recent anti-crime operations, rescuing 5 kidnapped victims in Kebbi State and killing 5 suspected kidnappers in Abia State. A statement by the force indicates that the operations also resulted in the recovery of arms, ammunition and other dangerous weapons, reaffirming its commitment to safeguarding lives and property. In Kebbi State, police operatives working with other security agencies and vigilantes rescued 3 kidnapped victims after a gun battle with armed kidnappers in Shanga Hills. In a separate operation in Danko Masagu local government area, 2 victims abducted earlier in Zamfara State were freed unhurt after successful confrontations with bandits. Meanwhile, in Abia State, operatives stormed a kidnappers' den in Ukwa West local governments and engaged the gang in a fierce exchange of gunfire. The superior firepower of the police proved decisive as 5 gang members were killed and a large cache of arms and ammunition recovered. Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun commends the officers for their bravery and assures Nigerians have sustained efforts to dismantle criminal networks nationwide. And with that, we come to the end of Nationwide. Many thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adegunloye.